Welcome to Fort Worth 148's podcast, where we meet to discuss Masonic topics and strive to build value in the Brotherhood. The opinions and statements of the participants do not represent any positions or stance of any Grand Lodge or Lodge and are solely the viewpoints of the participants. Podcast brothers, this is Rhit Moore, past master of Fort Worth 148, and tonight I've got two guests with me. Not at once, guys.
Now you want it now? I thought you were going to talk about us first.
No, I'm not.
This is Jeremy Barnes, past master of Potomac Lodge number 5, and one of the founders of the Amity app.
And this is Micheal Radigan, past master of Independent Royal Arch Lodge number 2, the other co-founder of the Amity app.
So it's funny you say you thought I was going to talk about it, because I thought about doing introductions. I was like, I could do something like, yeah, here's Micheal Radigan, super nice guy, really cool to be around. And then there's Jeremy Barnes. He made the Amity app.
The genius. Yeah.
I'll take it.
How are you guys?
Good. Busy.
It's too early to tell.
Yeah.
So you alluded you're south of the border, Jeremy, right now?
I am sitting in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Oh, wow. I bet it's not 108 degrees there like it is in DFW.
It's not. It's probably about maybe 85, 90 and no humidity. I'm absolutely loving it here, man.
It's like always that there.
It's why do you think I keep coming back?
I know why. I know why.
Well,
tell everyone else.
The tacos and the tequila, I was going to say.
Nothing wrong with
that.
We
could put in a plug for our brother that owns the tequila company down here. So, I've got all I need.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
It is good. Real Cepeda. It's very good tequila.
Have to check that out.
Coming soon to a bar near you. He's exporting to America these days.
Awesome. Now we're talking. We just had a guy affiliate that brews. Well, I don't guess you call it brew. Mead. He makes mead.
Oh,
what you call
nicely
that?
done.
Yeah, a brother from Canada moved down here, and man, it's such good mead too. B&Brew is his business, so we'll plug that as well.
Well, you got Busy B&Brew. I mean,
yeah. So it's been a minute. COVID, all that nonsense. What have you guys been up to?
I looked at my calendar, and it could be wrong, but if my calendar is right, we haven't been on the podcast since 2019.
Well, that would make sense.
Wow.
When COVID hit, we were talking to the guys. It's like, look, we can just pump out a lot of content. We're stuck at the house. We can do all this online. But, we all got beat to death by other Zoom meetings and everything. It was like the last thing we wanted to do was a podcast.
Yep.
And then
we get it.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've been busy. Last time we were on the show, we hadn't even redone the app. We were on version 2.14.
Mm-hmm.
The next one that came out was 3.0, and we are now just about to release 3.5.5. So we've probably been through about 20 or 30 releases since then.
That's what I'm talking about. So when I went to go check out the app, I had to reset my password. So it's been a minute. I've been on. But what all cool stuff do we have now?
Sounds like the password reset function worked.
Beautifully.
Nice.
I'll take my little wins wherever I can get them.
I imagine what an uphill battle this has all been.
I'll tell you what, though, it's just starting to get fun. We added a bunch of stuff to the new app. Michael, remind me, was the map in the old app?
No, that's all new. That's all new as well. I mean, there's been stages of it, but we have some really cool stuff coming still even. And we knew it was going to take having it all together at the right time for it to really flourish. And it's finally coming together. So, I mean, it has the whole way, but it's been a long road, it's been worthwhile. So, Yeah, we got a lot coming, and I mean, Jeremy, walk them through some of the new features. I guess the new, the near me obviously is different. You can still search by name, which is a really cool function. We've actually had a lot of people reach out to us about that, and we're like, yeah, check out the app, it's right in it. They thought we had to like give them special information, and it's in there. So we have that. We have the real time status that we're doing in so many different jurisdictions now. And really everybody's catching on to
over 100.
Yeah. Everybody's kind of understanding how this helps everybody get by and do less work and do work elsewhere.
And, Michael mentioned the near me, which is, you can think of Google Maps inside of Amity. And originally, of course, all you could do was search by text. You'd put in a piece of a lodge name, Fort or Worth or something, and the list would come back. Well, now that even if you search by list, all the lodge seals or Grand Lodge seals come back. So for me, every now and then, it's just kind of fun to look up a lodge by name and see all the images of what's around them. But now you can see it on a map, right? So we'll plot all the lodges, within about a 300, 400, 500 mile radius, and we've added appendant bodies as well. So we still have a lot to add. It seems like all the time we pick something and go, this ought to be easy. And, come to find out, I never knew how many Scottish Rite, bodies there were around the world and how many Supreme Councils there are. So it's taken some time, but, you can look for appendant bodies, and you can even add your appendant body memberships now.
Oh, cool. So you can do like meetings and stuff like you used to be able to do with the Blue Lodge stuff.
Yep.
All the same
exactly
things.
If you have permissions in the appendant body. But the other cool thing is we're right now in talks with, goodness, Michael, I think probably 5 or 6 appendant bodies on doing real-time status for those as well.
Yeah, about that. Yeah,
wave of the future.
Yeah, well, the future is here, my brother.
That's so true. It's 2022.
I think it's been really helpful. Go ahead, Rem.
Well, I was going to say actually that the future being here, I know, Rhit, you've seen it. We now have what we call the Copiri Signet, the Signet ring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, the idea is, well, obviously we've all got these membership cards, and obviously we all hate them because we have to carry around 15 of them, and over the years we've gone from paper to plastic, and everybody is excited about their plastic dues cards until the brother has 15 of them in his pocket and he can't sit up straight because his, one side of his butt's higher than the other. And then we said, oh, great. Well, we'll move to digital dues cards, and that's great. But now we have to figure out, what's real and where to find it. And so what we did is actually put your Amity profile in an NFC enabled ring. And all you have to do, just like Android Pay or Apple Pay, is tap the ring to your phone and up comes your membership.
Yeah, that was.
And in about 100 Grand Lodges, you get your real-time status, and pretty soon it'll be appendant bodies too.
Yeah, that potential's unlimited there. I mean, if you're not a ring guy like me, it could be almost anything. It's interesting.
And we're working on that.
What's neat too is we're expanding to kind of have it as sort of even just a contact card, where you don't even need a business card in a way anymore. You can just kind of share that and, be able to share your information with another brother. I mean, that's kind of the wave of the future.
Oh, so sure. Like, hey, what's your email and number? And you just tap your ring on their phone and it, boop, contact info.
Exactly. We're actually also in the middle of rolling out an update to that will allow you to turn off your Masonic information. So you may have seen an NFC business card out there. Same thing as the ring, except the ring is actually obviously a cooler form factor. But if you're going to a meeting with, hey, your real estate broker, right? Yeah. Rhit, I want you to sell me a house. And you say, great, what's your contact info? And I tap my ring against your phone, and up comes my profile without any Masonic information. And you can just save that to your phone as a contact.
Double whammy. I like those 2-for-1s.
Well, look, we're supposed to be sort of, as you might say, from a Christian perspective, in the world, but not of it, right? The Masons that go to lodge 7 days a week don't get to go out and practice what they're learning. So, we have to support our brothers no matter where they are in life.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. So when I was at the officer leadership training, looking for the list of lodges constituent, I noticed you guys are put out the book now. What happened there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, during COVID, unfortunately, in other ways, Pantograph went out of business. We had worked with them for a bit, but it just looked like the owner did not want to continue, and we were fortunately able to step in, and we believe we made some improvements to the whole process and the book, and tried to add some Masonic education. That's something we always ask Rhit for people to send us really cool Masonic information, whether it's, famous Masons quotes or, an artifact or something like that. We really want to make sure we're adding Masonic education to all of this. And we're really happy to continue doing that. We do most likely, usually a bulk order of once a year in January for Grand Lodges at a discounted rate. But we're about to roll out individual orders as well, where you'll just be able to buy, a copy of it whenever you like, print on demand and update it as of that day.
So how many Grand Lodges have bought into like officially recognizing the app as their source of list of lodges constituent?
Well, the interesting thing is almost at a larger level. What we're doing now is actually supporting conferences. For example, the Conference of Grand Masters of North America and the Conference of Grand Secretaries of North America, which of course includes all the non-Prince Hall Grand Lodges in the country and Canada and Mexico. They've taken us on to run their recognition engine. So it's almost at the point where we could say, well, who hasn't accepted Amity as the central piece? Because I won't dox them, but we've gotten calls from some of the larger Grand Lodges across the pond that said, hey, we're still working out whether we want to work with you officially, but we want our information to be right in the book, so can we give you our list of lodges? We said, of course you can. So we're at the point between the book and everything else that there is no other global list of lodges besides the one in Amity, and it's we're crossing over 100,000 Masons using the app, and it's a really cool feeling to be able to support brothers now in 100 and it's 175 countries, is it?
Oh wow!
No, it's 275 Grand Lodges in 120 countries.
Yeah,
125.
I don't even know how many countries there are, but there can't be many more than that. That's awesome.
Well, that's not every state and every there's states in every country too.
Yeah.
And most of them have been there. I mean, it's just been an incredible journey. We're really blessed and pleased. The app now is in all sorts of translations, which we've been waiting so long for. I mean, we had done so much work with the brothers in Central and South America and felt so horrible that for so long it took us, to develop the app and get everything else working, for them. And now we have that. So we're really excited. And this is kind of connecting people. We're happy to be the grease between the wheels. Everybody has their thing, for their Grand Lodge, and everybody wants to keep it that way. But we all have to interact somehow. And it's been really exciting to be a crucial part of that.
Yeah, no, it's when was this idea come to fruition? The Amity app?
It's still coming to fruition.
Every time we talk, we got these 10 things in the planning, but so when did it come online? I should say, I guess
Masonic Week, actually. I mean, it started a long time ago.
2016
like in a galaxy
is when we got
far
started.
away, Well, we were 1980 or so, Jeremy. 1981, I guess.
Rhit, you've seen the picture, but we've known each other since we were 3.
Yeah.
But really, it was in Masonic Week. What was that? 2016, right? 2015.
Yeah. Well, we sort of came up with the idea and decided to do it in early 2016.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. I was just telling the guys the other day, it's like, man, as Masons, you look back throughout history and, if the charities are like the last big thing we did, architecture, I mean, we always swung for the fences and went big. You know what I mean? You didn't have guys that were scared to just jump up and run with an idea.
Yeah.
So I love it that you guys have stuck with it because, man.
Well, judging by the amount of white hair we have now, I could argue that maybe that wasn't the best idea, but here we are and we're busting our tails.
I know it is one because everybody that's been in the craft long enough knows that at some point, you're going to get chewed up. And I think that's all part of the process of being a Freemason. I mean,
absolutely, brother.
Yeah, what is it without a little resistance? And most guys tuck tail and run, but that's about the time that the flower's going to bloom, because I mean, I know we first started talking, you guys were just getting the app going, and it was, all right, where's this going to go? And now it's like you said, you're the only list left. The dust is settled, and
they say
I'll
too,
tell you, go ahead, Michael.
Well, no, I just say they say too, nobody said making a good man better was going to be easy.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, it's been great to have the opportunity to meet so many brothers too. I mean, even just coming to Grand Lodge in Texas, we were there this past year when most social buildings got installed, and we plan to be there again this year. I mean, I'm at the point I travel a lot anyway, but it's like, I don't know if I ever want to settle down, because I feel like if I do, I'm going to lose half my friends because I won't see them, It's been such a cool ride.
Yeah. No, I think that is something that you really a long time ago kind of drove into me, because I was already experiencing that magic of visiting. But I mean, you have such a way of making it seem like so much fun. I mean, but you're a pro at it.
Well, I mean, you look at it Masonically, and I got to tell you I mean, we could say it as people, right, as well, learning something new, but we always have these discussions about, it's these people are spurious because they use this word instead of that word. And then you go somewhere and that's the way they do it. And you're like, wait a minute, how do I recognize you? And it's been so cool to see how people do their work. And it's always so different, but it's always the same,
I can imagine, and the fact that you guys were able to come into Grand Lodge, that seems like, kind of a no-brainer, but that was a big deal for us, because for so long it was like nobody but the Grand Lodge merchandise team is allowed down here. But there's so much more to offer the brothers. I think the merchandise, and especially different products and stuff, is part of the experience of the Grand Lodge. Should be part of the experience.
We were really humbled by that. We really were. We understood that when we were there, and really well received. And it's incredible to have these friends. It almost feels like it's, in the late 1700s at times, with friends posted all over the place, and the craft, being, a part of that. It really does.
I thought you meant people just wanted to keep their paper dues cards.
Yeah, well, that too. No, but it's you just never know where you're going to be and who your friends are going to be if you're involved in this craft and really care about it. It's just amazing where it'll take you and the things how it'll change you.
No, and I think we are starting to get a grasp on using technology, because there still is a lot of pushback. I asked about how many recognize the app officially, because you'll get pointed out pretty quick if you're talking to the certain people that we recognize the book but not the app. And it's like, okay, it's basically hit print,
it's the same thing.
Well, the guys that make the book make the app, so
And it cracks me up. I'm like, y'all know that app's updated in real time too. Like, they get info, it goes on there, you got to wait for, but I get it. Things move slow. And
one of the things that we knew in the beginning, and this has really been the model, is we knew that the technology needed to start to be from the bottom up rather than the member management systems from the top down, which are necessary and can't go anywhere because they do their thing. Like, I know recently there's things going on in all sorts of places, because they're specific for their jurisdiction. They pay for it. It's a service, and they do a great job at it, But with that, everybody loves their jurisdiction. They're proud of it. They're proud of the things that they use. And that's how the craft is. So we knew that we had to do it for Masons who really wanted things. And by doing that, it's getting actually people excited about their member management systems. It's actually, when Brothers of the Lodge, like when you went back to your lodge at Fort Worth and there was a bunch of guys who were using it, everybody started to use it, where sometimes it takes a while for a lodge to start using a certain technology because there's only one guy doing it.
Yeah. No, that's the truth.
Well, I'll tell you too, one of the things that we're excited about, if we look a little bit forward, We're finally getting to the point where we're starting to connect things, and there are some sort of straightforward things that are coming down the line. I mean, kind of that you would expect, right? The ability to pay your dues with Amity, stuff like that. The ability to integrate with your Grand Lodge system a little bit better. But there are also some really cool things. I mean, if you stop and think about it, let's say you're a member of 10 organizations, which in the US isn't very strange between the appendant bodies and a couple of affiliated lodges, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, how do you update your email address? Some you can go in the member management system, some you got to call the secretary, some you probably still have to send a telegram. But we're at the point now, we just this week launched this for one Grand Lodge. If you update your information in Amity in short order, we're going to be able to push that to every membership you have, and that makes a difference for people.
Yeah.
Another one that's cool that we sort of have pushed a beta for and not there yet is the Masons Near Me feature. The ability to use your phone as an anonymous beacon, if you will. And if two Masons walk by each other, you'll be able to see that in the map that, hey, at 2:00, you were at such and such a place and there were two Masons within 50 feet of you.
Yeah, if you allow permissions for that.
Yeah, correct.
If you allow permissions, yes. Just be very clear about that with everybody, But exactly, how fascinating is that, And we should be connected that way. I mean, how, what if our car breaks down somewhere, or that's the thing this is leading to. We should be able to help one another in an instant, no matter where we are, and that's what's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, because once you get to know that a brother's there, I mean, I hear it all the time. Yeah, I worked with this guy for 4 years, and I didn't even know he's a Mason, or what insert number of years. And this is a great way to subtly connect with each other, because you don't have to wear rings so everybody knows you're a Mason,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Because different strokes, different folks. That's a great way to connect, though.
Well, I mean, to your point, I spent a good half of my career in high rises and mostly in the DC area. But, the one thing that I knew for granted was we've got 6 grand jurisdictions there, right? DC, Maryland, Virginia, and the 3 Prince Hall Grand Lodge counterparts. I could guarantee you that if I was in a building more than 5 stories, there was probably a Mason there, and I just didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was a shame,
Yeah, I think it was a lot easier to identify each other back in the day, because they would, whatever might be a ring, a pocket watch, something that was easy to identify. This just seems natural progression. Everybody's got a phone.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you go back 100 years, right? I mean, cities were a lot smaller. You didn't travel as much because travel was a lot more difficult. You were on a horse or whatever it was. And so odds are that if you didn't know the Mason, somebody else knew both of you, right?
Yeah.
And these days you can hop on a plane and in a dozen hours be in Tokyo and, or Mexico City that has 20 million people, right? There's no way you're going to find somebody unless you know them already, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So we're excited to starting to be leveraging technology in a really cool way.
So I'm sure you guys have already thought about this, probably even working on it, but you'd mentioned that you pay your dues, your Blue Lodge dues. Will that be like a one-stop shop eventually for that as well?
That's exactly the goal.
Okay, because we were just talking about getting people to pay dues in multiple lodges and appendant bodies, because who has stamps? You know what I mean? And it's like you said, sometimes you got to telegraph them. But for me, it's like they'll ask send a letter and ask for a donation, because I'm endowed in some of the lodges, and I by all means just mail it off. But then it's like 3 lodges, and it never happens. I end up showing up and giving them cash or whatever, that kind of thing. But if I had it in one spot, you sit down after payday, and it's like, all right, getting it done, and that's lazy talk.
The cool thing, and Michael might shoot me for running a little bit past my headlights, and he might not be wrong, but I would say give us 6-9 months or something, and again, let's say you have 6 memberships, and I'm going to use round numbers. and they're $100 a year. So you got to pay $600 over the course of the year. And in a lot of Grand Lodges, it's due somewhere around St. John's Day. And we all know one of those two St. John days is Christmas.
Yep.
And here we are trying to figure out how to pay $600 to keep our memberships active at the same time as we're trying to buy presents for our family and what have you.
Mhm.
Right. Well, what if we could just say, great, pay $50 a month. And at the end of the year, we'll pay your dues for you.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, that sort of stuff. Now, in some cases, we have to do it because there are Grand Lodges that it's literally against their code to pay in anything but in full. But if we're doing that for you, nobody cares where the money comes from, right?
Precisely. Yeah.
You know, and again, those sorts of things. It's like, how do we make this easier for brothers?
Yeah. Well, it's what's going to help cure that non-payment of dues and things like there's always going to be people that just leave the fraternity, but I think there are a lot of people that just get out of the habit, and it becomes inconvenient to where everything's a click away nowadays, to where if it's a 3-step process where you got to write a check, lick it, stamp it, send it to post office.
Hell, have a checkbook to start with.
It's what I told one guy. He pulled a check out of his wallet, and I was like, that might as well have been a rabbit for me, because I have not seen a check come out of a wallet. He's like, I always carry one. They come in handy. I'm like, who takes a check?
Yeah, especially donations. You want, and that's how we're going to keep the lights on. That's how we knew that it would come to this, and that's why we can not advertise, and that's why we can have good security and not share anybody's information. And we knew this is the way to do it, and that Masons would want to use it if we offered them good services.
Yeah, that is a good point that you bring up too about safety of this app, because that was something you guys did so right from the get-go, was made it like Fort Knox from day one. That put all that issue aside of it getting broken into, your information secure behind the Amity wall.
Right. Well, and at the end of the day, that's one of the reasons why it's taken probably a little bit longer than we would like, but to me, I mean, I say this often, my biggest fear is that we get hacked and find out that somebody, got put in jail or killed because, they got found out in a place they weren't supposed to be a Mason.
Yeah.
So it's all fine and good to say, well, we're compliant with GDPR and we're compliant with the California law and the New York law, and those things are true. But, to us, that's just sort of confirmation that we're doing the right thing. It's never been a big hurdle to do that stuff because we do it that way anyway, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
No,
and we take that stuff for granted here in America, that, everybody post on Facebook, I'm a Mason. And that's not the case in some of these countries. You don't want people knowing. It's still held in secrecy.
I got to tell you, it's interesting being in, and I'm sure Michael has similar experiences, but being a Mason in DC, we get people from all over the world because the embassies are there. And we actually had somebody in my lodge who got initiated, passed raised, and then got posted somewhere else. And over the years, we would occasionally get an email from him going, okay, please stop sending me any snail mail. I can't get mail here that says anything about Masonry. And then 9 months later, we get another email from him going, here's my new address. You can send it again. And, and you're right. It's real. People don't realize it, but it's legit.
Yeah. I remember we had a speaker come and he talked about, I don't remember which country it was, but they were two Tylers with AK-47s without the door. Serious stuff.
I bet I know where that is.
Well, the violence has been here too. I mean, it happened in DC. It happened in New York. It happened, there's fires going on all sorts of places. Ireland was firebombed. I mean, it's happening. There's people who,
it happened in Houston
about us.
Did y'all hear about that? Where the guy broke in with the screwdriver and held people hostage at the Houston Scottish Rite.
I did hear about that.
I did hear something about that, and then it was kind of washed under the rug.
Yeah, got no serious injuries, but I know that I'd retire. It's like, goodness. But that's, thank goodness that has been something in my jurisdiction that we have started taking serious. That was pre-COVID. We were like, oh, okay, this isn't just a fad of nut jobs coming in and doing things.
Right.
Let's be honest. I mean, you're in Texas. I bet there were a couple of people jumping to be the Tyler with the AK-47 at the door.
Man, every other guy, why we got a pistol out here? It's like, look, man, it's legal. What am I? I'm not going to buy you a pistol, but I'm not going to tell you to go home if you wear one.
You're right. You're not going to see that up in DC. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's the truth. So if guys want to, because I know most of the lodges I hang around with have Amity app and abilities and all that. If a lodge wants to set that up, or a brother, how do they go about that?
Just by going to the App Store, downloading it at either App Store. When you register an account, you put in an email, you pick your lodge, your jurisdiction. Make sure to put in your member number. If you do have a member management system, we can connect with most of them. So that helps us in verifying your account. There is a little bit of a difference between verified. Your account being verified just gives access to everything. The King Solomon's Pass, which is your status, that actually is different now because it actually is real time and official for many jurisdictions. So when that started happening, in the past, we just had verification for the app. And so sometimes that gets a little confusing because there's some jurisdictions that say, if, for instance, needs review or something there. But in Texas, if you put in your number, it'll come back in good standing. Or if it's not, it won't. And that's basically the functions for the app.
Gotcha. I just pulled mine up. It's even in my Apple
easy.
Wallet. Yeah, it's so awesome. That's greatness.
If they have any issues, contact us at the support desk, support@copiri.com, and we'll certainly get back to you and try to work out, anything that you need help with.
So I want to talk about those paths. Have y'all experienced any grand jurisdiction that has went cardless?
Oh, yeah.
No cards
absolutely.
at all, no plastic, nothing. This is what they use. How is that going?
I mean, it's going good for them. Some of them never had cards either, so, but yes, some of them have gone cardless. It's been pleasantly surprised the benefits by having that by the Grand Lodge. The only people who get the information are your Grand Lodge. And we explicitly say that, so it helps in connecting the members with their Grand Lodge more. So there's been more benefits rather than people going, oh man, I wish I had my card. There is some people who have that, and we're looking into some options there in the future for some of those grand jurisdictions that still want some to an extent. We share QR codes for a Grand Lodge. If they want to have the Amity app QR on their card, we typically give that to a Grand Lodge, and then they could do their own cards, if they choose. But having the digital card really helps, only because if you ever lose that, and because it actually is in real time. A card is not in real time technically, and somebody could be expelled or suspended or what have you, and carrying that card. And if they go to another jurisdiction, chances are not every brother's going to catch them.
Oh yeah, no, they'd almost be impossible if they'd been suspended or expelled, in that time period from getting the dues card to the new one. Because for me, it's such a game changer with the time. As secretary, that was the biggest consumption of my time, single task, embossing and mailing out dues cards.
Yeah.
And I think about Texas, we've got, it would be somewhere around 60,000+ dues cards being mailed out. So you're talking about a little over 30 grand that collectively lodges spend just on stamps.
I was just saying, that's just the stamps. Don't forget about the envelopes and the paper cards and everything. It's wild how much we spend on it.
And the time that I would have probably been spending either reading a book or let's be honest, I've been watching Netflix, but I wouldn't have been getting burnt out on those remedial tasks. Because there's the Grand Secretary's office too that has to get them together.
That's right.
And remember too, there's also the work behind the scenes that you well know as a secretary, right? But whether it's a QR code on a card or even better, a digital card, if someone scans their card to get in or uses a meeting code to get to check into the meeting, you as the secretary, one of the first things we did was create the ability for you to email yourself a roster of people that have checked in, and I know as a secretary, between being in DC and, getting all these people from all over the world, it took me almost an hour after every meeting, just for the attendance roster to put people in order and blah, 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 trying to figure out who wrote what in the sign-in roster.
Yeah, you can't read that.
So right. So, technology is never going to be a lodge, but there's no reason we can't let computers do what they're good at.
Yeah. No, and that's what I mean. So I've talked to a lot of people about this, and I finally ran into somebody that gave me a logical, it's like, why aren't we doing this? And he said, well, some jurisdictions require a paper dues card to get in. And that's where the change has got to come. And I guess I get that in a way. If a Grand Lodge is like specifically as in their law, it has to be a paper dues card. But I was asking for examples, and I wasn't able.
Well, in those cases, they can typically take, a letter or something, maybe a certificate. There's jurisdictions that don't have dues cards, and they certainly have people who travel. So, in those instances, it is always best to refer to your grand secretary, and your grand secretary might call them up and say, hey, guys, get with the times. Let's go. I don't know if they'll say that, but the truth is that's the best route to go if you feel you're going somewhere where they won't. But typically, if it's your jurisdiction and it's what they officially use, they sort of Masonically should accept that. Try a brother, certainly. But
that's what I said. I was like, wait, we went a long time without paper dues cards. I think we can switch over to electronic dues cards, and there'd be some transition. But that's why I was like, that point I could get if there were Grand Lodges. There's like, you're not getting in without some kind of paper documentation, but I just never had heard of it. There's always,
and that's why I was going to call out New York as a success story. When they went to QR codes on their dues cards and permanent plastic dues cards, and we actually provided those QR codes, as part of the process, the Grand Secretary realized, hey, wait a minute, I can't do this because our law specifically says it has to be a piece of paper. And so, it wasn't hard to change from the perspective of like, nobody really fought it because they just added the option for digital. They didn't take away the paper immediately. Right. Mm-hmm. But, we couldn't technically launch those new cards until they changed their law. And I mean, come on, look at Texas, and it's everybody knows the phrase, well, you got to feel the seal. Right.
Yeah.
So it takes time.
Oh man, that's so awesome. Got to feel the seal.
But I mean, so New Jersey issued only digital this year. California for the last 2 years has issued only digital. Really? As Michael said, there are plenty of Grand Lodges in Latin America that just don't have dues cards at all.
I would be interested to hear how California is doing, because that's a large jurisdiction. That's interesting.
I've had those conversations with the folks that made the change, and I think the easiest way to say it is, well, you always have the people that are going to complain about any change, but for the most part, it's going okay.
Yeah, and there's no silver bullet. But I mean, in the end, with us always talking about how we're struggling with finances, this seems like just a great way to help everybody across the board. Grand Lodge finances, lodge finances,
It has been fun.
Yeah.
Well, and the Pew Research Center, which is, one of the most well-respected kind of survey organizations in the U.S. In 2021, they did a survey on the adoption of smartphones. Come to find out, 85% of Americans have smartphones, U.S. adults. Yeah. Right now, it may well be fair that the 15% is all Masons, but the point's still the same. We're well past the point of, well, maybe this will be adopted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm not aware of anything that would prohibit us in Texas from flipping that switch. I don't know of anything that requires a dues card. Lawful information, but it doesn't say on paper.
Right. Well, and this is the thing. I mean, people have to realize that, and let's take Texas for an example. Even if you prohibit dues cards, that doesn't mean that the other 300 Grand Lodges around the world can't allow digital dues cards.
Yeah.
Right. So you may require a card, but somebody's still going to walk in with a phone, and you're going to have to appreciate that their law is valid, just like your law is valid.
Yeah.
Right. And so you gotta you have to be able to try them with what they bring to the table that's legal in their Grand Lodge.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help the transition go as people continue to visit and go, oh, wow, this is how you do it. Okay, great. This is how it works. It's not actually that hard. Okay, we can figure it out.
Yeah. And that it's safe, because I think that's the biggest thing that scares most that aren't in the know about it, is that it's not secure or something like that, but that's the case with any technology.
Well, exactly. And at the same time, we've all said it on this podcast at one point or another, in one way or another. But the cool thing from our perspective is we've basically become the household name, right? Michael mentioned earlier that we're sort of the grease between the wheels between member management systems, because the fact of the matter is, if somebody shows up from whatever, England, you don't know what they use.
Yeah.
But if it works with Amity, well, then, that Amity is built by two Masons who know what they're doing, who have spent a lot of time working with all the Grand Lodges. And if it comes up as green in Amity, the only way that happens is if we can get the actual information from the Grand Lodge.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's humbling to be in a position where we're able to sort of, help brothers understand what is and is not legitimate.
Yeah, because that's convoluted as it gets. That's always fun when you had to get the old book out and it's like, all right, he's from this country, this lodge. It's like the maps go or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you just pull it up in the app and it comes up in red or black, and one's bad and one's good, right?
Yep. Yes. Yeah, it's so super easy. I was just looking at the map too, where it populates with all the lodges around you. It's
fun, isn't it?
That is, man. You on the road and just want to know if there's something going on around. It's that easy, that quick. It's great.
We've been getting a lot more Lodge of the Days as well, which is really great. Brothers have really shared a lot about their lodges, and we've learned a lot about them all over the world. And that's a great way too, just to, sometimes when you're just putzing around on your phone, how about checking out a lodge somewhere that, that you've never seen, or, something interesting about it. It's just been really exciting to take this journey. It's the greatest Masonic education in the world.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, little shout out to you in Fort Worth, because y'all were some of the earliest believers, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah. And we embrace technology. I mean, it's done so much for us as a lodge. I mean, from the podcast itself, just, financial software, you name it, we've embraced it, because it's saved us money, saved us time. It's the way to the future.
Rhit, we've now got podcasts in India and Mexico, like all over the place, that are in Amity.
Oh, really? I was just looking at the media stuff on there. That's crazy. I love that they're popping up. I mean, because I remember the days where it was like you had to go hunt down the old forums like they used to be.
Yeah. We hunted them all down and then reached out to all the podcasts on them that were still doing shows and said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this?"
That's greatness. Well, I mean,
it's cool.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. Get it centralized. So you guys are going to be.
I forgot that's a brand new thing that we did on in the new app, is that media page.
That's right. That is new too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that's a great resource now because I get that all the time. What other podcasts are there? I can just say, hey, pull up the Amity app. They got it all.
Most of the ones, there's always a new one popping up, but most of them we've got in there.
It's gonna be probably a couple months yet, but one of the things we're working on too is the ability to allow the new episodes to show up in your little news feed at the bottom of the homepage.
Yeah.
And that way, you can kind of see whatever's new right in right on your home screen.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, the things to do list is a mile long and the bandwidth is a few inches. So we're trying to eat the mountain one rock at a time.
One step at a time. I mean, from where it started to where it is now, I mean, it's like you guys are actually working on it.
Say that.
God forbid.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Tell him that,
Rhit. Yeah, really.
He's always on vacation though. He's in Mexico, somewhere nice.
Yeah.
I don't.
I will be the first one to tell you it is never a vacation. I love him. He's my brother. He is one of the hardest workers I absolutely know. No matter where he is working. I'll tell you that.
Nah, that's
there have definitely been a couple times when Michael's like, "Oh, I'm gonna come over and be wherever Jeremy is," and he shows up, and I'm like in a corner, like it's like, the beach is right over there, right? Yeah, but I got something to do. Rhit called me. I got to verify this guy, or I got a bug, or like same laptop, different background.
I know what you mean, man. I sit still too long, and I almost start feeling guilty. You know what I mean? It's like I got to get to work. Time's ticking.
Well, my good buddy Michael over here just retired, so I think he's trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life.
Yeah, you give me plenty to do. It's all right.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
And look, you're public servant like Mike, fireman. You get to kick your heels up. You do whatever now.
Yeah.
You've done your service
for a couple of minutes
right now. Yeah, not yet. It is different. It is very different, and I've had to learn to accept it. But life comes with change, and you gotta accept it or get bulldozed over, I guess.
Well, I'm going to call him out for a second. One of my favorite stories about this whole journey is Michael calling. What was it, Michael? Was it New South Wales or what? This Australian Grand Lodge, and he's relaying the story to me, and I'll never let him forget it. But he talked to the ladies. Oh, I'm Michael, this, that, and the other, and tells them about himself, and calls the Grand Secretary back a couple of days later, and the Grand Secretary is like, "Do you know you got all the girls excited? A New York City fireman calling our Grand Lodge?"
Oh man. Well, they are almost like the immortals of firemen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say the ladies in the Grand Lodge office are immortal. That may be true too.
That makes more sense. Yeah, that makes more sense.
They're like the SEAL Team 6 of firefighters. No, I say that they're all great men, but New York has a special spot in all of our hearts for
Yeah. And the fire departments are like that. It's funny. It's fascinating research about fire departments and the craft, even, and how most fire departments started by Masonic lodges. And there's a lot involved in fire departments that still is very fraternal. Original ballot boxes and things like that. In order to move along in politics, you had to be a member of the fire company. It models a lot of what we know in the craft.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Some kind of connection. So you guys are going to be back at Grand Lodge again this year, right?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
And set up same area down there in the merch area with
Actually, so there are a couple of rumors afoot. And I'm not going to spill any names because I don't know if I might get shot for saying it. But first off, the rumor has it we're going to be upstairs where we actually have cell service this time.
That'll be good.
So that'll be nice.
I think you're right. I have heard that rumor that they were moving that all upstairs.
Well, I don't know about that all.
Well, they had some of it upstairs.
We got told that we might get, they had a couple things upstairs, but I think they're going to find a spot for us because we were downstairs and it was a little tough to deal with the the basement cell service.
Yeah, you guys kind of in particular have to have cell service. Yeah.
That's what it was. But we pulled it off. We still had a great time. We got done. We ran up those stairs a bunch of times. It was worth it.
Oh my God, yeah. But I've also heard that there might be a little bit more merchandise at Grand Lodge this year across the street. So
right. Yeah.
I'm not going to spill any beans I'm not authorized to spill, but for those of you that are making it to Grand Lodge, keep your ears open. I hear that some of the better vendors that are not hired by Grand Lodge might be in a building nearby. So I would definitely say check out what's going on over there.
That would be fantastic. I mean, the bottom line is Texas Masons are going to buy Texas merchandise no matter what. They got to have the coins and the lapel pins every year. It's just what we do.
Exactly.
For me, I hope the Grandmaster comes out with some more of those cigars because they were really freaking good.
And those, be careful because they're floating around everywhere. You'll have plenty of people offer them now.
Oh, nice.
That's great, though. That's good news. I mean, it should be an experience, something we enjoy. Not everybody goes down there to vote on stuff. You know what I mean? It'd be fun to walk around checking out merch and stuff, make an experience. It's great.
Absolutely. Well, look, we've said it how many times by now already, but like this is part of the craft. Yeah. Sure, we got to do our work, we got to do our business, but showing off what, who and what you are, and seeing your brothers and your friends. I mean, that's important.
Absolutely.
That's part of it too.
Yeah. And it can be a flat bill hat. Doesn't have to be the trucker netted back hat. It's greatness. And you guys, last but not least, are coming to Masonicon as well, right?
You'll find me there. Absolutely.
Sweet.
I think I'm going to miss this one, but yeah, Jeremy will be there for this one.
Okay, cool. That's right around the corner. That's August 20th is
2.5 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Which,
not even.
My youngest son's birthday. Shout out to him. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's a good excuse not to come. I'll approve that.
All right, good. Thank you.
I'll bring you back some Busy Bee coffee, Michael.
Yeah, that'll be good.
There you go.
They're usually there. Let's see if they're there this year, or if not, a little bit of a shout out to twist their arm and get them to show up. I'll buy some coffee.
There you go. There you go.
They're coming.
No, sorry, it's not Busy Bee. It's Busy Brew, isn't it? My bad.
Busy Brew. Yeah.
Busy Brew.
Now they're going to be like, all right, that idiot. We're not showing up now.
He could use a cup. Right. He could use a cup of coffee.
As long as we're talking about Waco 92 in some form or fashion, they're happy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I was going to give the shout out to Robert Marshall for helping us when we were there with the Wi-Fi signal. That was great. He was a savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic guy.
I think I might have even seen him smile.
Oh, in person, yeah, but you put the camera up, it's gone. It's like a ghost in the wind, man. The smile is gone.
Rumors and innuendo.
Oh, my grandfather was the same way. You put a camera in front of him, you can't men don't smile. It's like, all right, whatever, Grandpa. Oh, so great. So I look forward to it, man. Masonicon is going to be great. We've got the officer leadership training that's going to be in the same building at the same time. So it's going to be close to 200 of us in that building. It's going to be a great time. If you ain't got tickets yet, guys, snag some on Masonicon, text masonicon.com and get your tickets. Well, fellas, do y'all have anything that I missed?
I mean, don't tease us with a good time. We can talk for hours. Come on.
I know. That's why when we got on, I was like, usually 30, 45 minutes. I should know better with y'all too. We have such a great time every time. It's so hard. I'm looking at the clock. It's like, well, nothing we can do.
No, that pretty much summed it up. We're just happy to be here again and to connect and to share just a little about what we've been doing. We do have some other big things in the loop, a little too soon to talk about, but we're excited and, just keep a lookout. Keep looking for those updates, and Jeremy will keep his head down in Mexico.
Y'all just
right about that.
Y'all just let me know. You got anytime y'all got anything coming, you got carte blanche to come on the show. We can always work something out. Always enjoy it.
We'll be those guys that call in the middle of the show. You're talking about what? Hold on. Amity's here.
Amity, stop.
Quick update.
I'll even get you some music or something.
That'd be great.
We need a theme song. Amity, that is.
We can even pre-record and plug you in, have a little sound bite.
Love it. Love it.
Well, fellas, it's always a good time.
Thank you, Rhit.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. This is Rhit Moore signing off.
I guess this is Jeremy Barnes signing off. We're doing that. You didn't even tell us we were supposed to do that, Rhit.
Well, you can or you can't. That means you probably should, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought we already did. Well, this is Michael signing off. Thank you.
I'm leaving it in too. That's a perfect train wreck to end it on.
Okay.
Outstanding. We got that part down, that's for sure.
There you go.